Shining Force the comic, eh?
Richard, I wouldn't play with fire if I were you.
Thanks for the input, Tao, but I'm pretty interested in checking this out. What could possibly go wrong? Sonic the Comic was a Sonic the Hedgehog-based comic that ran from 1993 until 2002. It ran for 223 issues with 184 original issues and 39 reprints. Yes, I am reading this directly from Wikipedia because I never got into Sonic the Comic when I was a spewing idiot goblin child in the early 90s. By 1993, I had moved on from Sonic and the Ninja Turtles for Phantasy Star and Shining Force. You know, I was a cool 11-year-old. Shining Force had a number of manga adaptations that were only available in Japan. The first was a title released by Shogakukan in 1992 between March and August. This is pretty wild because it actually coincided with the release of the original Shining Force for the Mega Drive in Japan, as that was released in March of 1992. This timetable probably explains the discrepancies in the comic, as the full game wasn't out yet to provide input for the comic. I mean, the subtitle is Saint Fencer Max, but that definitely ain't Max. There's also a manga called Shining Force: The Advent of the Gods, which was released in late October of 1992. The story was done by Masahiro Muto, and the art was done by hentai artist Yuichiro Tanuma. This title seems to be pretty self-contained, but who knows, because I can't find much more info on this one. But there was an English-language Shining Force comic. And yes, we are wrapping back around to Sonic the Comic because this English-language Shining Force title, The Curse of Zeon, was exclusively available in Sonic the Comic. How weird is that? Shining Force: The Curse of Zeon ran for 6 issues between March and May of 1996. These are also like short comics inside of bigger comic books, so there's not a huge amount to investigate. Now, I have previously skimmed through the first part, but other than that, I am pretty much going in blind. Being a comic for children from 1996 means it's probably not going to be great, but I am just so starved for anything Shining Force related here in 2024 that I am down to feast on a child's comic. So, I'm Richard for RPG Fortress, and this is Shining Force: The Curse of Zeon. So Shining Force: The Curse of Zeon opens in Grand Seal. Okay, cool, there's even an ancient tower. This might be good after all. So yeah, his name is Bowie, but that very much is Max. Also, Taya? Is this some sort of weird mix between Tao and Taya from Shining Force 2? She looks like a He-Man character. Okay, well, whatever, artistic license, I suppose. Bowie Max and Taya Tao are training while Spock watches along. Taya manages to best Max and sends him sprawling to the ground, where he smashes his head open on a rock. The end. Alright, it's too early for goof, and Max is still alive. Taya apparently has healing magic, so she's a mashup of Tao, Taya, and Lo, which is an abomination. As our main characters are rolling around in the dirt, an airplane flies overhead, and damn girl, nice manny. The plane comes in for a landing, but these lame-ass peasants fucking hate it. They are just absolutely terrified of Big Metal Bird. As the peasants continue to lose their shit, Bowie and Taya approach the plane to investigate. Turns out a robot has... oh, Jesus Christ. Turns out a robot has come to see Maximilian about Zeon. Maximilian, is that Max? Wait, what? That's Zinc? Okay, whatever. Anyway, Maximilian ends up being Bowie's grandfather. He's also apparently sick, but he doesn't care because the return of Zeon is a real bad thing. This story sure is moving at breakneck speed. Meanwhile, over in Ribble, hey, that's an actual Shining Force 2 town, some dudes are doing an archaeological survey. Ribble does have ruins under it in the game, so hey, a bit of actual continuity from the game. These guys manage to force their way through a door where they find machine guns, missiles, and a tank. You know, Shining Force stuff. And that's the end of issue 1, and Wow, this sure is something else. Characters from Shining Force 1 and 2 jammed together, He-Man shenanigans, and modern-day weaponry. Shining Force does have that ancient technology trope, which I love, but straight up dropping a tank into the story is something that I was not prepared for. Part 2 starts up with some baddies harassing the Grand Seal peasants about the robot known as Zinc. The bad guys get what they want, and who the f*** is this asshole, the Shredder? Over in Ribble, the archaeologist Trevelyan is being told that the king wants him to stop digging up the place. Probably a good idea. What is he gonna find next? A fighter jet? Trevelyan is convinced this goose-stepping jackass is a follower of Zeon, so he gets out ASAP. Bowie looking a hell of a lot like Max now. It sounds like the writer is going with the idea that Max from Shining Force 1 is Bowie's granddad. But you'll find out that playing Shining Force Guide in Final Conflict, the leader of that game, Ian, is Bowie's father. I guess they're also assuming that Adam and Zinc are the same character, although this guy looks nothing like Adam or Zinc. Taya is real scary. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is so paint by numbers. Taya is pretty excited about, oh shit, oh Jesus, oh god, oh no. The baddies have officially arrived. Turns out Shredder is actually Baron Cadaver? Okay, original character, do not steal. He's here to steal / take back Zinc / Adam. Oh no, oh. Taya, what are you doing? Proclaims Bowie as she attempts to single-handedly save the day while he stands there doing nothing. Man, make Taya the leader of the new Shining Force. Bowie finally decides to try and help and immediately stacks it. Well done. Taya also gets sat down. As Bowie lays on the floor, Cadaver informs us, the readers, that Max imprisoned Zeon. Never mind that Zeon was actually sealed 1,000 years ago, long before Shining Force 1, but hey, I'm not the writer of this LSD-fueled fanfiction. And we leave on a nice little cliffhanger. I mean, it's a kid's comic. Cheese Grater Face won't murder an old man in cold blood, but it adds a little bit of tension as to what will happen next. Part 3 starts off right in the middle of the action, with Lord Cheese Grater Face preparing to murder Old Man Max. Max blasts Bowie and Taya with magical milk or something, and teleports them away while accepting Cadaver's challenge. It is a pretty silly looking plane. Taya wants to go back and help Max, but Zinc thinks it's a bad idea. Bowie also wants to save Max, but thankfully Zinc has some common sense. We then cut back to Zeon's henchmen in Ribble, very happy they now have a tank and some machine guns or whatever. This is seriously some silly shit. We only just jumped narrative, but now we are jumping again. Our crew is in the silly plane heading towards Hassan, another town in Shining Force 2. Nice. Oh. Apparently, the OG Shining Force visited Hassan back in the day, but it was actually Max, Adam, and a few other warriors who were chasing Michaela after the events of Shining Force 1. Please play Final Conflict. Our dudes are ambushed by a centaur guy who looks like he's right out of Masters of the Universe. This dude's best friends with Mechaneck. Jesus Christ, this guy is all caked up. Taya tried to convince our new centaur friend that we're the good guys, but, Jesus Christ. Oh, this guy is supposed to be Chester. Dorky little Chester, okay, sure thing. But dorky little Chester is a pretty badass fighter. Who would have known? I usually drop him for Rick. It's a pretty cool sword, TBH. Bowie and Chester continue their punch-up, but as they struggle, Bowie's sword starts to glow with a magical power. Ooh! Hey, it's Max! And a misplaced speech bubble. Max tells Chester that him and his granddad were friends. Max pleads with Chester to join the Shining Force. Let's go. And that's the end of Chapter 3. Wow, we're already halfway finished this silly, silly story. Part 4 begins with... Anyway, Zeon's over here chewing the scenery and is telling himself his nefarious plans. He can also spy on the Shining Force and shoot lasers from his eyes so his goons can see them too. So the Masters of the Universe arrive at Zeon's chamber and get ready to fight some goons. Whack! Bonk! Bowie wasn't even able to get his sword out in time. Jesus Christ, look at these faces. Zeon is happy that our heroes have entered the tunnels and tells Kadavar to go get them. Kadavar has passed out magic wands, aka guns, to all of his soldiers. This is a very silly comic. Bowie, who actually hasn't done anything yet at all in 4 issues of this comic, approaches one of Zeon's goons who is armed with a gun. He's just not ready to get shot in the face. Yep, that's a gun. Oh Jesus, they actually shot Bowie. Chester bonks the guy on the head with his lance. Taya is not sure how she can help Bowie with his gunshot wound. Holy shit, they actually shot him with a bullet. Did this just turn into a gun safety PSA? The prognosis for our hero isn't looking good. Zeon's over here being one giant one-dimensional idiot villain. Kadavar has a mystical device left by the Ancient and he's gonna use it to villain the good guys. The baddies are over at Grand Seal Tower, priming a nuclear bomb. So we end part 4 in just about the silliest way possible, with Zeon getting ready to nuke the Shining Force. What am I reading? Alright, on to part 5. Part 5 starts off with Bowie dying of a gunshot wound. Okay, sorry. Max manifests from the sword to speak to our dorky heroes. He also confirms that guns are dangerous. Yeah, no shit, Granddad. Max asks to look at Bowie's wounds. He tells Bowie that his pain will be over soon and... Okay, that's it. That's the last time we're doing that. Max summons a blinding flash of light and Bowie is promoted to the A class. Nice vagina bones. Kadavar shows up ready to fight. Bowie decides it's time to stop being a wuss. Kadavar spills the metaphorical beans by telling our heroes that he's uncovered the mystical device that he's been looking for. You know, the nuke. He also tells us that it's been moved to the Ancient Tower. They're really going all in on the anti-nuclear weapons thing, aren't they? Bowie says he knows what they're up against, but he's just a backwater peasant with no comprehension of nuclear physics. He then shatters Kadavar's sword. Actually, nice energy in this panel. Yeah, you big dork. Double yeah. Meanwhile, back at Grand's, Google and Peasant. At the top of the tower, they are getting ready to nuke Zeon back into existence. The ancient ritual of countdown which casts the spell of detonation. That is pretty silly. Oh good God, no. Our 6th and final part, thank God, begins with the Zeon's crew getting ready to revive him with the nuclear bomb. At the same time, the Shining Force managed to get warped into the tower. I guess getting promoted gave Bowie the ability to teleport. Also, Zink and Chester haven't said anything since like part 2. Fun. Fine, I'll do the bit. It's the final countdown. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Our heroes burst onto the scene to stop the nuclear bomb from detonating. An acolyte says it's too late, but the Force still beat everyone up. During the battle, Zink confirms that he knows what the ancient device really is. We then get some prescient and on-the-nose social commentary. Social commentary be damned, nukes are magical artifacts. Professor Taya condescends the acolyte seemingly knowing what a nuke is. This is called a plot contrivance, just roll with it. Zink comes up with an idea to hopefully save the day and asks Bowie to open the portal. This is apparently something that he can also do now with his sword. So Bowie uses his sword. Is this supposed to be the Chaos Breaker? You know, since Max gave it to him. Bowie opens the portal, and Zinc pleads to the Force to push the bomb through. Heave! Ho! Bowie then closes the portal. And as Bowie seals the portal, part of the blast still makes its way through to knock everybody on their asses. More social commentary. Max then appears to tell our heroes that they have done a good job. And our heroes stand triumphant, safe in knowing the fact that the King of the Devils can be murdered by a nuclear bomb. And that is the Shining Force comic. I was not prepared for Shining Force kills Zeon with a nuke, but here we are. A little bit of our gray matter is now devoted to knowing that this comic exists. A little bit of brain matter devoted to silly faces. A little bit of brain matter devoted to a very silly adventure. Needless to say, the Shining Force comic did not return. And it's kind of sad, actually. Yes, this was a very goofy adventure, and yes, the art is all over the place, and yes, the writing is hackneyed, but this was still pretty fun. Once again, very He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, but it was something just a little bit different. Like I said, I am starved for new Shining Force material, so I will take anything I can get my hand on. Anyway, that's all I got. I've been Richard for RPG Fortress. See you next time, and don't forget to hug a cat. Goodbye. Alright, so let's check out this comic book. These sure are some strange runic characters. What does this even say? Klaatu Barata Ne. Klaatu Barata. Oh my god, what's happening? The book! It's burning me alive! I live.